It's Wednesday, September 11th, 2013. I'm Rim.
I am Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, Aladdin, the Disney movie.
Let's do this.
I'm the bird from Aladdin.
Okay.
So, we talk a lot about our bike commutes, but I got to get this out. Yesterday,
What are you getting out? Don't let me see.
so I was biking. I'm not getting my dick out. We'll talk about getting dicks out later. So I'm biking to work, right? And the most ridiculous, stereotypical hipster fixie bike dude I have ever seen. To the
Was
point.
it one of those ultra tall ones?
So no. Well, it was not a penny farthing. It was just this guy wearing a knit hat. He looked like such a bike hipster. He had this huge leather messenger bag and this huge chain. The messenger bag had a full-size bike pump sticking out of it. It's an actual fixie, fixed gear, not single gear. And he's biking like a maniac down the road in Queens.
Okay.
Like a maniac. And he's doing that thing. I don't know if you've noticed this, but those ultra biker dudes, a lot of times they like to touch stuff while they're biking.
Really?
Like they'll bike and they come up behind a car and they whip around the car and they reach out and like slap the back of the car as they ride by it.
Why would you touch someone's car for no reason?
I don't know, but I've seen hipstery, fixie bike guys do it all the time.
Okay.
Or like they come up to the Pulaski Bridge and they bike up to it and they just like grab the cement right as they go past it and they grab the rail and they just touch shit all the time. And he's also biking in that really aggressive way where he's standing up the whole time and doing that pumpity pump back and forth.
Was it a fixie or a one speed?
It was a fixie, like I said.
Okay.
But he's jumping with it too, like you would a BMX. Like he gets to a corner and he like jumps the bike into the little slight corner he's taking, and it's just he's being a douchebag. And he runs red lights and he almost hits me because I was stopped in the bike lane at a red light, and he like whipped his way around me and he touched there was a pole, like a light pole, and he touched it as he went by it and turned around, and he's doing all this bullshit.
Crashed? Hurt himself?
So I just laughed and kind of let him do his thing. And then I kept passing him because I'm way faster than anyone on one of those bikes.
Yeah.
I was just actually stopping for red lights. So I get
That
over
happens a lot to me, too.
So he gets down the Pulaski and he gets stuck behind slow people that he can't easily get around. And he's really antsy and he keeps sliding his bike back and forth and like,
He fell off the bridge?
and then he just fucking like grabs a guy like on the shoulder and it's like, yo, bro, and like slides past everyone with his bike and then starts rocketing down and just really gets in everyone's business.
Okay.
So I get down to the end of the bridge and I catch up to him again because fixies are slow. And I'm watching him and we get to the bike lanes in Brooklyn,
Wait,
right?
he was speeding down a hill, on a big hill with a fixie. How did he stop at the bottom?
Because he stopped because there was actual traffic at the base of the bridge.
Did he have a brake on this fixie?
I don't know. I guess I think he had one of those ghetto little front brakes, but he might have done his bullshit slow down coaster
I saw a dude
whatever.
with a fixie and only a rear brake, and I was like, what the fuck, dude? Anyway.
So anyway, the operative part of the story is that he gets going now,
I'm waiting for the comeuppance.
and there's a bike lane. But he's not in the bike lane. He's riding in the street next to the bike lane for no goddamn reason.
Okay.
Blocking traffic. So there's cars lined up behind him because he's going way slow, and he's in the middle of the lane, biking as fast as he can, and like going left and right, like woodly. And people are just passing him in the bike lane, and the cars are honking, and he's being a douchebag. And then out of nowhere, he does his woodly to the left and comes down, and his front tire just snaps off.
Yeah.
And he goes
too much Woodley.
And he goes tumbling, and his messenger bag lands on the ground and explodes in just garbage everywhere.
Yeah.
And the bike goes flying, and he goes rolling, and he's laying there. So I bike up, and I'm next to him, and I slow down. I'm like, "You okay, bro?" And he is obviously not okay. Like not like he's not gonna die, but he was not in a good way. And he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm fine." And I look, and the car that had been stuck behind him, who watched all this firsthand, the guy is laughing so hard he can't even breathe. The guy is just like holding on, like he's holding onto the wheel, and he's just got his head up in the air like It was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life.
Instant justice. If you had a video, justice porn. That's why I need a GoPro.
If there was a god like Poseidon of bikes, that is what he would do to people
Dude,
like
God
that.
of bikes. That's me, Scott Rubin, bike guy.
You sure it's not just Poseidon?
Scott Armstrong, Scott Lamond.
Nah.
I don't know. Who's got a bikes?
So that was my commute.
Sure. I took the subway today.
Yeah.
Because I had to get my laundry in the morning.
Also, guys, yeah, elves and Burning Wheel kind of hacks. Even though dwarves are just as much hacks.
Non-humans, hacks.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Though I'm kind of worried now that
rat people, not hacks, really.
Yeah, they're not
just rat people.
They're not that great.
No.
They're good at some things. Not looking forward to when that last episode of Attack on Titan comes down the pipe.
Got to read the poorly drawn
Not
manga.
gonna read the manga.
Not gonna know. I'm not telling you what's in the basement.
You're not gonna tell me shit. You're not gonna spoil anything and make me wait, and I'm gonna wait. You know what?
And you'll never know what's in that basement.
They're gonna make another season.
Yeah. Will that season get to the basement?
Probably.
Will it?
Scott, I have waded through ridiculous cliffhanger. Remember the end of Big O1? How did Big O1 end? Big O1 ended, hey guys, that whole plot we building up to, the whole time, that plot that you've been waiting for resolution on, well, the end. Nothing. You had to wait years for a season 2 to even be made, and there was no guarantee that season was going to even happen.
Anyway.
Meanwhile, Attack on
I don't know
Titan,
how many years exactly there were between Big O's 1 and 2.
Or how about Giant Robo? Every episode ends on a cliffhanger, and that shit came out sporadically.
Let's see. Big O. The Big O. Not Big O notation. Season 1.
Yep.
99 to 2000.
Yep.
Season 2, 2003.
Yeah.
So, 3 year.
You had to wait a while. All right, Scott. Giant Robo. Every episode is the cliffhanger, right? Mm-hmm. Episode 1, July 22nd, 1992. Episode 2, February 20th, 1993.
So 8 months?
Yeah. Episode 3, August of 93.
7 months, 6 or 7 months.
Episode 4, January of 94. Episode 5, October of 94. Episode 6, June of 95. Episode 7, the grand finale, January 25th, 1998.
3 years between the second to last and last episode.
Yeah, I dealt with Full Metal Alchemist, and I can deal with Attack on Titan. I can wait for the anime.
Sure. You didn't wait for those giant robos. You watched it all at once.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying, there have been worse. Also, when
anyone who read Bone in single issues and
my God,
and not one volume edition,
I couldn't have. I would have like kidnapped the dude making it. I would have like flipped out, and I don't know what I would have done. But Escaflowne, I watched the second to last VHS tape that ends on possibly the biggest cliffhanger in anime history, and then I had to wait a month for another VHS tape to come out.
You're going to be waiting more than a month for Attack on Titan after this season.
That's fine,
ends.
because a whole bunch of other stuff is starting up, and actually, it's kind of anime season again for me.
It's going to be pony season.
I know, we're going to have ponies.
Do you even care?
We'll see.
Do you even pony?
Well, the thing is, I still like the concept of My Little Pony, but I am dubious that the upcoming season will be worth watching.
I look in my rearview mirror and I see sharks that have been jumped over.
I would have been a lot less worried had Equestria Girls not happened.
Yeah.
But I had to see it. Kind of like
that really poisoned the waters.
Kind of like how when
sharks.
When you see a car going at high speed toward a brick wall, and you know it's going to hit the brick wall, you don't look away because it's going to happen anyway. There's nothing you can do about it. You just got to see it. That is why I watched Equestria Girls.
Okay.
But I mean, I watched Shinsekai Yori. There's like 4 other anime I want to watch. Like there's a lot of good anime out there. Scott's not watching. It's just me and Emily.
I got shit to do.
Yeah, like what?
Playing Netrunner.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that.
What are you doing? Watching anime?
Yeah.
Yeah, playing Netrunner is at least a social activity.
Maybe we'll start doing video again. A lot of people are really clamoring for Geeknights Presents.
I've been using my Elgato and streaming playing video games. How about that?
I wonder if we should stream live the making of one of our Utena episodes.
Whatever.
People will be really sad to see that the making of is identical to what they actually get because we don't actually edit that shit.
Anyway.
So, in the news,
something happened that I feel like has happened before, but perhaps, anyway, Miyazaki retired. He even had a press conference saying he was retired. Right. So I see this and I'm like, Brett Favre, he's done this before. He is not really retiring, but I'm sort of maybe convinced he actually is, because he had a big press conference about it as opposed to just sort of saying he's doing it, right?
Yep.
And also, if you look at it, it's like, yeah, he hasn't really done anything super great in a while, right? He wants to go out while he still hasn't made anything awful.
I'm still convinced that what he was attempting to do, well, not necessarily attempting, I think a tiny part of him, to be perfectly honest, was hoping that he would eventually die in the middle of his last work. Because you notice whenever there's, like, look at Satoshi Kon. Everything he did was...
he's really trying to get lung cancer pretty badly.
But seriously, look at Satoshi Kon. Everything he did was gold, right? But the last thing he was working on that didn't get finished has this mystique because the people who recognize his gold are desperate for anything more. Anything.
You will see plenty of lost works of Miyazaki, right?
I would love to see a director like this, like, work with his animators and secretly create a movie that no one knew about that's only released after his death.
Sure.
Like it's hidden somewhere and 20 years later someone finds it.
People do this. It's called fake Van Goghs. They have them.
So should we get people to make fake Miyazakis?
Good luck with that. It's a lot harder than making a Van Gogh.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Goro did better with his more recent movie. Goro made good anime.
Goro run tournament good.
I don't know. His second work was better than the first work that he made.
Yeah. Also, Anno seems to be getting in on that biz.
We'll see. That is still a rumor at best.
It's still, it is what it is.
Though, if it were going to happen, the rumor is that Anno would like to or has a line toward making a sequel to Nausicaä.
Okay, you need more manga to do that.
The thing is, the anime really covers the first volume of the manga and actually has a pretty different tone from the overall manga.
Well, it also adds an ending that sort of isn't in...
Yeah, because the end of that manga is, we got a long way to go here.
Yeah.
So, if I were Anno, I would not in any way make it a sequel to Miyazaki's, the Ghibli one. Instead, I would just make it a separate set of movies that follows the manga more closely. A whole
set of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be really cool, actually.
I'd see that shit.
I feel like Anno could pull it off if he had the right team. Yeah.
Nausicaä TV follows the manga.
Yeah, I would watch the fuck out of that.
I think I would save anime. Everyone would watch the fuck out of it.
That's the kind of thing that could cause, of course,
that could be an A anime.
That could do for anime what Akira did for anime.
Yep. That would
because
be
Attack on Titan.
level.
A lot of people are talking about an anime renaissance recently because of Attack on Titan, and the thing is, it's true, but that's misleading. Attack on Titan got existing anime fans excited about anime again. It did not get new people into anime.
See, and I think you know what a Nausicaä TV could do. Obviously, all speculation, right? But it's like you look. People who aren't anime fans, hardcore, they're just, say, watch anime, like my mom or something.
Yep.
They only really watch anime movies and really only, the Miyazakis and maybe the Satoshi Kons.
There's one step
maybe
beyond.
Maybe the Ghost in the Shells of the Akiras,
There
right?
is one step beyond of the normal people who they watch the movies and they have seen like one anime series.
Like a Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, they've seen like Cowboy Bebop or Paranoid
But the TV
Agent.
series are pretty much nerds only. What TV series is accessible like to all the, the moms who watch Miyazaki movies? What TV series do they watch?
In America, because if you say the world, Sazai-san.
Sure, right? But if there was Miyazaki TV series, like Nausicaä TV, boom, suddenly anime TV series becomes a thing for all those people, right? And it wouldn't be hard.
Yup.
Wouldn't be hard.
But Attack on Titan is energizing anime fandom, and a lot of people I see who were really into anime and just weren't watching a lot recently, suddenly with Attack on Titan, they started watching anime again.
It's got the people who were anime fans who haven't watched anime in a while to watch an anime.
I suspect it also got a lot of people who previously were not using Crunchyroll to start using Crunchyroll.
I was using Crunchyroll. Now I temporarily paid money to Crunchyroll.
Exactly. I think a lot of people are paying for Crunchyroll now. And I think a lot of these people, when Attack on Titan stops...
Gonna stop paying for Crunchyroll.
No, I think they're gonna start watching some of the other anime that's on there. There's a bunch of good shit going on right now.
Sure, but I'm not gonna keep paying when I can watch it for free.
It's so
all the
cheap.
shows, yeah, but all those shows I could just watch them for free, and the only reason I need to pay is because simulcast.
Yeah, high quality. I don't think you get full...
There has to be another show that I want to simulcast as badly as Attack on Titan.
I don't think you get full quality if you don't pay on all of them.
It's a shame.
I'm not sure because we've had a pay account forever, so it just kind of...
Whatevs.
Yeah. But, I mean, seriously, there's a ton of other pretty good stuff lately, and there's been good shows that have come out for a while, but nothing has energized anime fandom until Attack on Titan. It's doing what Full Metal Alchemist did.
Madoka did.
Madoka did, but I think...
Not as much.
Madoka energized...
Even though it's better.
I think Madoka energized a smaller, harder core. Madoka energized people like us. We were like, oh, fuck, anime.
All the Attack on Titan people who are excited about anime suddenly, watch Madoka. You've got time. There isn't going to be a new freaking Attack on Titan episode for like a week or something.
Yes, and if
you have time to watch Madoka.
Yeah, and Attack on Titan people, if you want a show with ridiculous cliffhangers where you start watching and then you have to watch everything, that's Madoka. And you know what? If you watch Madoka and you still need a show like that,
Ava.
Escaflowne and Ava. Escaflowne is not the best show ever, but you know what? It's got that cliffhanger. You're going to watch one episode, then you're going to watch 23, and then you're going to watch 26.
Yep.
So I don't really have a news, but Scott briefly talked about a new comic called Trillium.
It's not the I Am client.
No, it is Jeff Lemire is our man, is pretty much...
the #1 most talked about comic creator on Geeknights.
Yeah, we really like Jeff Lemire.
He's a Canadian hockey-liking comic drawing dude.
I know, and he draws sad hockey players so well. Sad, melancholy, thoughtful, wistful hockey players. But Trillium,
pretty much him and Brian K. Vaughan are just owning everybody right now.
So Scott came over one day, and he handed me a floppy.
Actually, I gave it to you at PAX.
You handed me a floppy of Trillium, and I was like, floppy? And he was like, just read it. And I was like, okay. And I read it. And it was two comics. Like, you know the whole flip over? Like, it's a floppy that has one comic one way, and then you flip it upside down.
I didn't even realize what was going on until I got to the middle.
And you start from the other side, then you read his different comic. It's one of those. So we've both read it now. We've read one floppy of this, and it is already... I equally want to read more of this to how badly I want to read more of Saga.
I've read almost every comic Jeff Lemire has ever written in his life that he's published professionally, right? Underwater Welder, everything, right? This is the best one of those. Just based on the first issue, it's the best one. And two, as terms of comics that exist that are coming out as of this moment, not all comics ever, right? Because Watchmen, right?
Yep.
Will Eisner, come on. But comics that are being published today that are coming out in comic book stores as we speak. Saga #1, Trillium chewing on its asshole. It's that close.
They're neck and neck, but we have one data point right now.
That's all you need. It is so strong.
So I almost don't want to say anything about it because.
So here's what Trillium is about.
Okay, gonna give the summary.
Yeah. So there's so far as we know, which side did you read first? The Indiana Jones side or the space side?
I read the space side first.
I read the space side first by chance.
I also chose to do it by chance.
I didn't even know that it was flipped before I read it. I just picked it up and started reading, and then I was like, oh, there's another side.
I knew it was flipped, and what I did is I looked at it, and I was like, random. So I just flipped a coin, and it was tails, so I read the space one.
So in the space side, there's some girl who's a space
anthropologist in a really, really future society.
And she needs to go and get this plant to keep her people alive from some horrible disease or something.
Yep, but she's an anthropologist. It's the typical sort of...
She has to talk to the aliens.
Talk to the aliens. We need their bullshit.
Yes.
The military's like, no, we're going to go get it anyway if you can't convince them.
So then the aliens send her on a quest to basically prove her worth. On the other hand, on Earth, at least it looks like Earth.
It's like the 20s.
There's some archaeologist investigating Mayan ruins, Aztec ruins.
Yep, he's a World War I veteran, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, he found, he's investigating the ancient hidden ruins, Legend of the Hidden Temple.
In that very British sort of, ho-ho, off into the jungle with pith helmets, hurrah.
And they meet. The end. Issue 1.
Yeah, the two comics, you read one, it ends at a point where they meet. You read the other one, it ends at the exact same point from the other perspective. And I
wonder if the next issue is going to be flipped. Probably not.
And
I wonder how it's going to look in the trade.
There's spoilers, whatever. It's one floppy.
One
what really was interesting is I read the space one first. I get to the end of it, and I'm really invested in this character because there's a pretty big thing going on. The bodies she sees inside of that temple.
Oh, man.
And what they were wearing.
Oh, man.
And then suddenly this guy with a machete covered in blood is just like, yo. And I'm like, what? Who's this guy with the machete? Me no trust. And then I read the other one, and it is, I perfectly understand why his machete is covered in blood.
Duh.
But now I see both from his perspective how threatening she looks, and from her perspective, how threatening he looks in a way that could not have been done in a different format.
No. Comics.
Yeah.
The best. You can't do this shit in some movie.
Just have a movie that
you watch one movie in the left eye and one in the right eye at the same time, and then one's
Here's the way you do
down.
it. You release the movie to theaters, right? 50% of theaters watch movie A and 50% watch movie B, but they have the same title.
And then everyone's like, oh, fuck, there's a second movie, and then you have to go back and watch the second one.
Yeah, and it causes a media shitstorm.
If you get the first one again, shit. Well, it could be like Clue.
It could be like Clue. That would be the best.
Anyway.
Things of the day. Speaking of dicks being out, this is a video. It's a pretty well done video, and basically it's the top 10 scenes that people would pause and rewind a movie for.
In other words, Easter eggs.
Yeah, or like you notice something weird, like, did that munchkin just hang himself? What? Pause, rewind, or was that a ghost in the background of 3 men and a baby?
Did that guy have his dick out? Yes.
Yep.
Yes, he did.
But
there was a dick in that movie, an exposed male penis.
Granted, what it doesn't have is the scene in Back to the Future where the kid flips the camera off and points at his dick. But what's interesting is that this video is great for modern times, and this is the reason I make it a thing of the day. When I was a kid, I heard the rumor of a munchkin being hanged in the background, so I was like, oh, fuck. So
and the movie is on your TV is blurry as fuck.
Yeah, and
it's like looking for UFOs with your camera.
We had an expensive goddamn VCR, so I was doing this tracking frame by frame, and I'm like, that kind of looks like someone hanging themselves. I really can't. We're like, my brother and I are like drawing pictures of it and tracing over the TV, and if you watch the HD version, it is obvious it's a bird. Like, so obvious. And a lot of these are like that. Like the 3 Men and a Baby thing. I remember when I paused that as a kid.
Notice how since we've had HD cameras, there's a lot less talk about aliens
and
UFOs.
Except among the craziest.
Except for CG-generated ones that people have made as hoaxes.
Yep. I want to see a lot more hoaxes like that, though. So yeah, that's my video. That's my thing of the day.
Okay.
That's what I got.
My thing of the day. So you all are aware, if you go to YouTube, to the cartoon Hangover, there is a TV show, Bravest Warriors.
Bravest Warriors is like my 5th favorite thing in the world right now.
I like Bravest Warriors a lot. And there's a comic book, and there's a lot of people cosplaying, and Catbug got really popular.
If I had to rate things that are on right now or recently that I like, that are visual media, it's pretty much Adventure Time, Bravest Warriors, Venture Brothers, even though the season recently ended, Archer, even though we're waiting for the new season, My Little Pony, even though the sharks might be circling.
Anyway.
But Bee and Puppy Cat is right up there.
Yeah, so Bee and Puppy Cat is the other thing that is on Cartoon Hangover. People seem to like it more than Bravest Warriors. They are heathens. Not that Bee and Puppy Cat isn't great.
I like Bee and Puppy Cat more than Bravest Warriors.
It is pretty awesome.
However,
it's just not Bravest Warriors.
90% of
it is
why...
not brave, although it does have warriors.
90% of why I like Bee and Puppy Cat more is the voice acting.
The Vocaloid of
No, the main girl. The main girl.
Oh.
I love the way she talks. And 9% is her actual dialogue.
Yeah, that's pretty much all that show has.
I'm sure glad there was nothing sharp on my couch.
Use the sword as a sword. All right, so you should watch both those things, but beginning tomorrow or perhaps today.
Wait, there's a third thing?
It says coming this Thursday, and they posted it yesterday, and today is Thursday, so this could be posted anytime today. They have a trailer, though, which is what I'm going to link to. The trailer is for a third show, Dr. Lollipop, the Unicorn Doctor.
This appears to be, from what Scott showed me,
the greatest.
Dr. McNinja Little Pony, the Bee and Puppy Cat time. It combines
Charlie.
the things I like about all
And
these
Damako
things.
Dobutsu.
Oh my God, it is Damako Dobutsu.
Anyway, so
because you know that assistant raccoon-looking guy in the background is going to be the best.
the thing I want to point out about this is like at PAX, there was a lot of like Catbug Bravest Warriors going on, and not just because We Love Fine was selling it, right? People were doing it. And I find it really awesome that this is like, hey, this is just a TV show that's just posted on YouTube. There's no friggin', it's not on a TV network. It's not doing anything. And Bravest Warriors, it's appropriate for all ages, but it does things that would not be allowed on TV. Straight up, right? It would be very different if it was actually on Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon or some shit.
Yep. Yet,
you see almost as much of it as you see Adventure Time around.
Yeah.
Like, it's around.
Because for people, young
YouTube
kids,
is finally TV.
No, YouTube is only TV for people, for nerds
Smart
and people under the age of 14.
People who go to PAX.
And young people.
Yep.
For very young people and for nerds. YouTube replaced TV a while ago, but we're past
But now
that
we're
critical
finally
mass.
seeing full production value TV shows just on YouTube free. We've seen them like on Netflix, streaming, but this is on YouTube free, real TV show, not some guy made it at his home TV show. And animation. And there's not too many of those.
Yep.
And there's definitely not too many of those. There are some, I'm not saying these are the first ones. These are the first ones where people are buying merch all over the convention, is what I'm saying.
So, in the meta moment, book club book is Stasiland.
Haven't even read page 1.
You should read it. I already picked my next book club book, so I'm way ahead of the game.
Probably gonna have to.
Way ahead of the game.
Yep. Great.
In fact, since I finished Stasiland, I've read 3 more culture books.
Oh.
Yeah.
I haven't been reading in a
while. Consider Phlebas was pretty rough.
I didn't finish it yet.
How far did you? Well,
I'm at the place where they're inside the planet that they were looking for the mine somewhere.
Pretty much the whole rest of the book is that.
They're in the train tunnels looking for stuff.
You know that train's gonna move.
Oh, duh.
Yeah.
It's Chekhov's fucking train.
Chekhov's train, Chekhov's uranium pile.
Chekhov's everything. Chekhov's mind, Chekhov's shape-changing ability.
Yeah, I really like the culture books a lot. Yeah, look at all our stuff on the internet.
Meta moment.
That was it.
Oh.
Do you have any other meta? Nothing? Nothing at all?
Burning Con.
Burning Con is coming.
The
Scott's
Pentaclagon.
skipping some of it because he's...
I'm still not... I got to figure that out still, right? Because apparently there's a special... I would normally, under no circumstances, skip Burning Con once a year. Burning Con. For a Netrunner tournament, which is twice a month. Never would I do that, right? But...
It is not sold out yet.
Oh. It is a special Netrunner tournament where the Fantasy Flight people are coming and doing all sorts of fancy stuff. And could be a once ever situation. But they're doing one at the Strat on Saturday, and they're doing another one somewhere in Brooklyn that's hard to get to on Sunday. So it's like, I could skip the Sunday Burning Con and go to some weird store in the middle of nowhere, Brooklyn somehow. Or I could skip like the first 2 sessions of Burning Con on Saturday and go to the Strat, which is not a weird place with the people I know, and maybe I'd still probably be able to make it to the night session of Burning Con on Saturday and then go to Burning Con Sunday. We got to see how it goes down. I got to figure it out.
Well, we'll see it by ear. We got videos on the internet, videos of our lectures from a million conventions. We're going to be at MagFest doing the same bullshit we do every year. Maybe some new bullshit that we're not going to talk about because we're trying to put together something really
magical, something magical.
But we actually can't talk about it until we get a little further into the planning.
I don't want to. Normally I just talk about everything.
But it might not happen.
But the thing is, I don't want to. If I say something, somebody else might be upset.
It's also we have to make a lot of things line up for this to work the way we want it to work.
Yeah, and I don't want people to maybe start spreading this.
But I will say, if this happens, the upcoming MagFest will be the most magical MagFest ever because not only will the magic happen, but Machine Supremacy is going to be performing there.
They better not schedule any of our stuff during the Machine Supremacy tournament? Concert.
I will email them and make sure.
Because if they do, I'm just skipping my own shit.
Yeah,
I didn't wait over a decade to go to this concert to just have to do a panel, which I do 10 times a year.
All right, Vic.
That's right.
So, Aladdin.
Yeah.
I played that game on the Genesis.
Great game on the Genesis.
It was actually a pretty good game.
Really good.
Mostly because that was one of the earlier games that had that...
Lion King on the Genesis is also really good.
Because they had that... They were just mediocre platformers, really, but they had that ridiculous animation.
How about that Aladdin Tiger LCD? That was a good one.
Tiger LCDs were all, without exception, bullshit.
Aladdin, good one.
Terrible.
Street Fighter 2,
They were
good
all
one.
terrible.
Good ones.
Every one of them was terrible.
The original, the one was just lights and it was football. That wasn't even, I don't even know Tiger made that. That was good. That was like the first one.
I had an ancient one from like the 70s that's baseball.
Good.
It's not Tiger.
I like those ones.
Yeah, except there was a glitch.
How about the Pac-Man one that looks like a little arcade machine?
So in mine, it actually had a controller. It was 2-player, right? And a controller stuck out and you took turns pitching and batting. There was a way to hit the buttons in such a fashion as pitcher to where it was impossible to hit the pitch.
Nice.
And my little brother would cry because he couldn't figure it out, and I was an asshole and never told him.
Okay.
So there we go.
There you go.
But no, Aladdin, the 1992
Whoa!
Disney film.
21 years old.
Yeah,
If you were born when Aladdin came out, you can drink. Have a beer, Aladdin.
And yet, when I thought, oh, let's do a show on Aladdin, I didn't feel like it was that long ago.
It was way long ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I was a kid, Aladdin was a big deal because basically Disney movies had, there was this time period when I was young when Disney was like, wah, wah, and then they sort of came back like Little Mermaid, boom, and there was that period where every single summer there was an animated Disney movie that was super high production value and awesome, and it was just boom, 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 hit, 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 right? And Aladdin was, The Little Mermaid I didn't care about too much, but Aladdin I cared about a lot. We had a VHS tape and we wore that thing the fuck out.
Well, 92 saw Aladdin, The Mighty Ducks, Newsies, The Muppet Christmas Carol.
And people say, listen.
Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, all in the same year.
People say, right, like, oh, movies aren't any worse than they used to be. It's just your perception. No, go look. In the 90s, pretty much every year had multiple all-time great movies.
Yeah, that was 1992. Go back one more year. You also get Beauty and the Beast, White Fang, Rocketeer, and Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken.
Well, that one, fuck that one.
Yeah, you don't like Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken?
I don't know what that shit is, yeah.
It's about horses and girls.
I don't even know what the hell that is.
Girls and horses.
Yeah, it's not a memorable one.
Not rated very highly.
Go on Google and type in like 1992 movies, 1993 movies, 1994 movies, and you'll just see greats, greats, greats. And just as you keep going, there is a gradual decline starting around the early 2000s, just like, oh, there's less and less greats every year. Where did they go? And it's all superhero movies and sequels. The end. Anyway.
But yeah, there was a big dearth. Oliver and Company was the last movie that was big that came out before The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, then it was Little Mermaid, Rescuers Down Under, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King.
Pocahontas.
Then after Lion King, they kept trying to keep it going.
But
it was hard. And I think around Tarzan was the last one.
Well, when Pocahontas came out, I remember because I was in middle school and I was like, really? You're going to make Pocahontas and the main love interest isn't even the guy she married in the real world? Really? Yeah. And then when it was Hunchback, I was like, fuck this, table flip.
Yeah, I was fuck that shit too.
And then I didn't watch Disney movies for a long time.
No.
At least as a kid.
But Aladdin was still magical, literally and figuratively, right? So, first of all, Aladdin was way cool. Right? It was all kind of action-y with the magic carpet, I
remember watching Aladdin over and over again as a kid.
Yeah. Secondly, Robin Williams genie. You can't ignore that. That's like 90% of the movie.
Yeah.
How can we not? You can't. That's like the first thing and the last thing.
I feel like in
still
a way,
still funny, still good.
It worries me. I think that was the first Disney movie to do that level of pop culture reference to that degree.
But notice the pop culture references were to things that were way old. They didn't do any references to things that were contemporary.
Shrek is contemporary bullshit.
Exactly.
Aladdin would be like referencing, I don't know, Bugs Bunny today.
Exactly. So Aladdin, all its references are really old, so it comes off like a Looney Tunes. It doesn't come off like a Shrek, or it's, if you made
But Looney Tunes were not references to old things when they were happening.
No, they weren't, but it works now. So when Shrek is way old, is it going to look like Looney Tunes?
No, because Shrek movies are bullshit.
That's right. But Aladdin isn't. And Aladdin doesn't have that many. Aladdin isn't heavy on the pop culture references. It just has a few.
I wouldn't say it's heavy on them because there's a lot of other stuff going on.
Yep.
But it is they're a significant portion of the humorous dialogue.
Some amount of it. It's just because the genie does impressions a lot. That's the biggest part of that, you know. And there's also some other some jokes and one-liners here that refer to things. And
I think it was also just that in general, a lot of the cast was pretty big. So there was this is kind of from the era when Billy Crystal was still a big deal. He wasn't in this movie, but people like that were doing voice acting for movies. And now there's nostalgia for a lot of those kinds of actors because they're not in those kinds of things as much anymore.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's, Aladdin has what a lot, pretty much the right mix of all the things, right? It's got the pile of comedy. It's got less of the mushy stuff that, say Beauty and the Beast would have more of.
What is this, 1992?
That's right.
Mushy.
How old was I when I watched this? I'm trying to go back into the past.
Yeah, when I was
like
young.
Samurai Jack.
My only impression of the mushy stuff in Beauty and the Beast was that the Beast was way cooler as a beast and was kind of lame when he turned back into a person.
100% true.
Yup.
100%. Right? But the other thing Aladdin really had is that the bad guys were actually somewhat likable and interesting.
Jafar is one of my favorite Disney villains ever.
Right, and he's got, Iago's sidekick.
I'm the bird from Aladdin.
Yeah. Gonna have a heart attack and die. You kidding me? All right, but you look at, say, Beauty and the Beast, right, and it's what? That Gaston guy? It's like no one likes him. He's just a jerk.
There was someone at Kineticon cosplaying as him.
There was. Great cosplay. But it's like, he's just an asshole. It was the bad guy in Little Mermaid. There really isn't one.
Gaston wasn't the bad guy in Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast was much more complicated. There wasn't.
Of course.
The bad guy was the Beast himself. He was his own bad guy.
But villains are what makes awesomeness, right?
Well, what makes awesome Disney animated
Star
movies?
Wars. Luke Skywalker? No.
Yeah.
Darth Vader? Yes. That's how it is.
Obi-Wan also yes. Han Solo also yes.
Yeah, but not as yes as Darth Vader.
C-3PO not
and
so
why?
much.
What was the number? There are many reasons why Episode 1 is shit. The number one reason why Episode 1 is shit, because Darth Maul was shit. Right? If there's more Maul, that would have saved half that movie.
Darth Maul should have been a square boss.
That's exactly. He should have been they had all the character design, the double lightsaber. They could have made him the next Darth Vader. Instead, no one gives a fuck about Darth Maul. Fuck him.
I gave a fuck until I saw that movie.
But Jafar and Iago, way awesome.
Well, Jafar wins for one reason. One primary reason.
Jafar is a lot like Rezo.
He's so thin. And his face is so tall, and his mouth is sometimes so tiny, and sometimes bigger than his head.
Mm-hmm.
That is why I like Jafar. Also, he's evil and he's smart. Look at his plot. He's like, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. And it basically
does it. He gets the lamp, and he's like, yeah, what? Now
I wish I'm the most powerful wizard ever. Fuck y'all.
That's right. Boom goes the dynamite. What you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Oh, it's a Disney movie. Otherwise, I would not have lost.
Yup.
Let's see. What else? What's not good about Aladdin?
Well, culturalism aside.
That I didn't recognize when I was a kid, but now is so blatantly obvious.
The thing is, it doesn't bother me for the reasons you'd expect, because when the movie came out, American culture really was completely tone deaf to that kind of thing. So no one even noticed.
Nope.
in general pop culture.
But look, it's like, we had made progress by that point, right? It wasn't Song of the South. We learned that lesson.
Yep.
We just didn't learn.
But what bothers me is not the things people complain about this movie in a general sense with Arabic or Persian culture. What bothers me about it is that the characters themselves do not act in any way like the archetypes of those actual kinds of stories and do not draw at all from that culture except in the most superficial manner.
Yeah, characters.
Aladdin is not in Aladdin. He's not a character from that world in that era at that time. Aladdin is a 90s American stereotypical snotty boy.
That's right.
He is a Bart Simpson. He is a Zach Morris.
He's way more a Zach Morris than a Bart Simpson.
Yeah. He's an earlier Bart Simpson, but yes, Jack, what are they? They're the cool slacker kid.
Yep.
They're sticking their pencil into the back of the bad guy.
No one likes Aladdin. Everyone likes this. It's all about sidekicks in this movie, right? Iago, Genie, Carpet, Apu the monkey.
Yep.
Right?
Even the
tiger.
Lion. Tiger.
Right? It's all about the sidekicks. All the main characters. Sultan sucks.
I like the Sultan.
Right?
In fact, even though it's wrong,
Aladdin and Jasmine suck.
I don't know why, but for whatever reason, every time I picture the Emperor in The Prince of Nothing, I picture him as looking like
the Sultan from Aladdin.
Yes.
What?
Because that makes everything.
I think of him looking like evil Julius Caesar, who's got like some sort of wilting disease.
Except that he's old, so
are you talking about the Zinimus, or are you talking about whatever?
Yeah.
Not Zinimus, Xerius.
Yeah, I'm talking about Xerius.
Right. Anyway.
No, not Conphus.
No.
Conphus is like a perfect Adonis of a man.
Stupid people with their X named X.
Xixilinsins.
Yeah, I picture Conphus as like Alexander the Great.
Yeah. But just picturing his uncle as being the Sultan from Aladdin. That's just how I picture him.
Great.
But my problem is just that the characters act from 90s Western culture perspectives, despite the fact that they are superficially Persian. Mm-hmm. That is the part that bothers me, not the lyrics of that opening song or anything else. And the stereotype of the evil vizier, I'm pretty sure in the real world, viziers are 99% evil.
Yeah, no, I'm more bothered by the stereotype of the guy at the beginning, like who's like the little the Bedouin, merchant guy.
Oh, singing his song?
Yeah, he's like, oh, check this lamp, let me tell you the story. Ooh, I am all stereotypical. I might as well be in Punch-Out.
Yeah, but he bothered me less than the fact that Aladdin just looked like someone from that world.
He bothers me as much as Soda Popinski, Vodka Drunkensky.
I love Soda Popinski.
Right, it's the same amount of, nationalistic, stereotype, racist bullshit.
Yep. If anything, what this movie taught us between this and The Lion King is that Disney hates uncles.
Sure.
Uncles and viziers are the worst possible people.
100%. So it's got some songs. It's a musical like a Disney movie is. But I think what puts it ahead of other Disney movies is that multiples of the songs are good. Like I would listen to that. If I came up on my MP3 player, I would not push next. Right?
It's funny because I have a digital piano, like with weighted keys. Like it's a full-on piano. It's the kind of thing you'd use on a stage at a concert if you didn't want to have a real piano for a lot of reasons. It's a professional electronic piano, but it's old. It costs a lot of money, but we got it in the 90s. So it holds up pretty well today, but for its time, it was good technology. It has MIDI capabilities, and it was preloaded with a bunch of songs to kind of show off what it can do. 2 of those songs are from Aladdin.
Nice.
So that really shows you the widespreadedness of Aladdin getting in everyone's business.
But like other Disney movies, even the musical ones, it's like maybe they have one song you like, or maybe they have 0.
There is a song from another Disney movie that is better than any song in Aladdin.
Which is?
Be Prepared in The Lion King.
That one's okay.
That might be my favorite Disney song ever.
Jungle Book is hard to beat.
All right, Robin Hood.
You and your Robin Hood.
I really like that Robin Hood. No, I haven't seen it since I was a little kid.
You mean the hamster dance?
I have not seen that Robin Hood since I was a little kid. I kind of want to see it again.
Anyway. And also Dumbo, tough to beat.
Whoa, wait a minute. I just learned something crazy about that Robin Hood that I got to remember to look up later.
What?
It had an alternate ending that's way different.
Cool.
Well, there's a lot of words. I got to read those later. Okay, I didn't know that. Anyway. I wonder if we watch this now, if we would find the genie at any point funny.
When I think I'd find it funny. When I was a kid,
I'd
memorized
great cosmic power. Itty bitty living space.
That's pretty good.
It's all jokes like that. The thing is, those jokes feel like those kinds of jokes. That kind of delivery is cliche in animated kids movies today. But back then, it kind of made the cliche.
Yep.
So it's kind of like when you read Old Heinlein, you're like, what is this super stereotypical sci-fi bullshit? It's like, no, that was the first story to do that. Shut up.
Yeah, I think I would still find it funny, mostly because when I was a kid, I watched it so many times, it lost funniness simply because I 100% memorized everything, and now I've forgotten as much of it over the course of 20-something years that it's probably, some of it will come back to me, like, oh, I remember that, lols.
I remember being annoyed at his wishes because he was just dumb. But
okay, yeah, I forgot to mention that.
But the real Aladdin was dumb. Well, the real Aladdin.
The real Aladdin, sure.
The story of Aladdin was equally dumb with his wishes.
No, but I think that what bothered me not so much was what he used the wishes on, Aladdin, because Aladdin was already dumb. It's the manner, mostly of the second wish, right? Where he's just sort of like drowning, and the genie shakes him, and that makes his head nod, and he's like, okay, and that counts as a wish? It's like, fuck you.
But he would have died.
That doesn't count as a wish. You could pick him up.
Nope.
He did all sorts of other stuff for him without making a wish.
See, if I were him, I would have wished to have all the powers of a genie without any of the restrictions of a genie. Boop.
It's like he wished to be a prince. He's like, okay. But he gets all this other shit to go along with it. It's like, where the hell did that come from?
That's all the accoutrement of being a prince.
Yeah, and he gets like free travel to places.
It's like Prismo, only it's the reverse of a monkey's paw.
Yeah, he basically gave him way too much stuff for free. And then, he gave him the freebie to like, get him out of the desert or whatever.
Why didn't he just... Well, because princes don't come from tombs.
No, remember he was like, oh, that, he tricked him in early in the movie. And he's like, oh, man, I'd like to get out of this desert or whatever, or out of the cave. And he tricked him and they went to an oasis, right? And they didn't cost him a wish for that. So why did it cost him a wish to go out of the bottom of the ocean? The genie is clearly capable. Basically, if you Gandalf Girth the rules of
Aladdin.
Aladdin.
Genie is just kind of a dick. Maybe the genie has inscrutable rules because he is
The genie was not sticking to the letter of the law. A rules lawyer would have fucked that genie over 10 times.
The rules are incomprehensible to mere mortals, and he is acting on a different plane that we cannot apprehend.
Sure, then why does
Notice
he need a
I
mortal
said
to
apprehend and not comprehend.
Right, whatever.
It could be something like that.
Mm.
But Aladdin should have just wished to be an all-powerful wizard and then done all the rest of it himself. Also, part of the moral of this story is if you want to get with a girl, you need to totally fake it to trick her into going with you, and then you can apologize later for that and still get
and
with
all
her.
you did wrong was just lie about being a prince, and then she totally saw through it because he's a doof, and it didn't matter. But that's the only thing she was mad about was the fact that he lied.
Yep.
The end. But it's like, if she was, as intelligent as she, acts, right? She acts like she's really smart. You believe that she's smart. But if she's so smart, she'd be like, oh, he obviously has to do this because he doesn't realize that I don't care. So if I just said that I don't care, he would have been like, oh, okay, good. Yeah, I'm just Aladdin. But she didn't say that. It's like, obviously he has to lie. He couldn't get in the palace otherwise. What the fuck was he supposed to do?
Wish to be an all-powerful wizard and just appear in the palace and be like, yo, it's me, Aladdin.
Yeah, seriously. She should have been like, oh, it's you, Aladdin. Yeah, I totally saw through your thing. You don't have to be lying anymore because whatevs. I like you even though whatever. But she didn't say that. So really, they're both dumbasses.
Did you ever watch the sequel?
Okay, so
sequels.
I watched the second and third movies.
I watched the second. I got it on a VHS tape from a supermarket.
The Return of Jafar, people do not like, but I like.
Here's my problem with all the sequels. The genie's powers
severely diminished.
Become bullshit.
Yes.
They don't even matter anymore.
But the second one has one good song in it, which, right, for a direct-to-video, that's pretty damn good right there, right? To pull off what the second movie did with a direct-to-video, I like it. I saw it less times. We did have it on tape. I couldn't have had it on anything else.
Nah.
And I saw it less times and less recently.
There might have been. You could have had a laser disc.
No. But that second one, I liked. Third one was basically the same as the Aladdin TV show. Take it or leave it.
Apparently Robin Williams originally didn't want to play the genie.
Really? What did he want to do?
They created a reel of his stand-up, and they animated it with the genie, and then they just forced him to watch it, and he laughed so hard, and he agreed to do the project.
How could you not?
Yeah. I wonder if that's available. Wonder if I can find that reel. But yeah, I did not like the
sequels. That would be the most amazing thing if you could find it on YouTube.
I'm going to type for it right now.
Type in like Robin Williams.
Did you watch the TV show?
I watched some episodes of the TV show. It's not that good.
It's terrible.
It looks like those are just clips from the movie.
Yeah, I can't find it. I might have to do a little more research to find it.
Sure. But yeah, the story behind the TV show, I read this whole article about, I think I might have made it Thing of the Day or News once or something, but basically there was an article that I'm not going to search for now that talked about why Disney Afternoon died, and basically it was because executives at Disney kept switching around, and there was some executives at Disney that really valued the high-quality animation on TV, and that was the era of the Disney Afternoon, and the executives switched, right? Sometime in those early 90s around the Aladdin times. And those executives are like, hey, we just want to make a lot of monies. Let's take our hot movie properties, turn them into TV shows and use that. And that way we can sell the same movie and TV merch and woo, monies. And who cares about if it's any good? And it wasn't any good.
No good.
Not where, DuckTales? Yeah, you want to watch if there's a torrent for every DuckTales, you're downloading that shit. Nobody's serving or downloading the torrent of every Aladdin TV episode. I shouldn't say that because someone probably is, but DuckTales torrents probably got mad seeds, yo. Mad seeds.
So maybe we should watch the movie again and we can do a little follow-up to see if it holds up.
I bet it does.
I'll bet it does too. I really want to watch the furry Robin Hood again now.
All you.
How about the Aristocats?
Yeah, it's okay.
I remember really liking the Aristocats as a kid.
I mean, a lot of them are not, bad. It's all these Disney movies are pretty good. It's just they're not as good as the other ones, like Dumbo, Mickey the Beanstalk.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.